Hello and welcome again to the group exhibit for hydrogen fuel cells and batteries in Hanover Fair 2016. My name is Michael Sinclair and I will be the moderator for the next discussion. I would like to, anyone who's standing nearby, welcome you to come on in, have a seat. There is table service and refreshments available, so make yourself comfortable. Also, audience questions are welcome. If anyone has any questions for my guest, feel free to raise your hand and I'll come bring the microphone to you. The topic of today's discussion is Finnish hydrogen know-how, and joining me is the Export Sales Director of Woikoski, Taneli Naukkarinen. Please join me in welcoming Taneli to the stage.
Hello.
Thank you, Taneli.
Thank you.
Okay, Taneli, thank you for joining me. The first thing I'd like to do is to offer you the opportunity to give us an introduction to Woikoski.
All right, thank you. Also, welcome to everybody on my behalf. Woikoski is a gas producer, traditional Finnish gas producer, founded already in 1882.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, we have our 134 years anniversary this year. And we've been producing gases like a long time. One of these gases is hydrogen, already 103 years. And Woikoski is a family-owned company, private-owned company, and it has been with the same family, Palmberg family, already the whole time. And the current owner and CEO, Mr. Klaas Palmberg, is the fourth generation in the company. And also the future is secured because his daughter is working with the company, and the daughter has also 4 children, so we have the 5th and 6th generation coming. And Woikoski, as I said, is a private company, and that means that it's also a very flexible and dynamic company when we talk about decision making and taking decisions to do this and that and invest in different topics. And my first contact with Mr. Palmberg was interesting. That was a job interview a couple of years back. And in this interview, I was telling about my background, about multinational company where I was working, and that there was this kind of quartile economy, that after each quarter you have to deliver some revenue report, what you have done and how much money you have made. Mr. Palmberg listened to me in this interview, and then he said afterwards to me, Taneli, we have also a quarterly economy at Woikoski. Our quarter is 25 years.
It's a quarter century, every quarter century.
Yeah, but the point here, his point is that not only looking at the business right now, today, but also looking a little bit further with the long-term planning, long-term ideas. So there's room for development of new technologies. That there's time for that, and Woikoski is exactly, they want to develop new technologies and take time with that.
Okay, very good. So you're in the production of various gases for industrial processes,
yes,
and have a long time history with hydrogen. Tell me about some of the history your company has with hydrogen production.
All right. So as I mentioned, we started the hydrogen production in 1913, and we've been producing hydrogen ever since. The first setup was electrolysis. So this means that from those days to now we have been collecting a lot of experience into hydrogen. So we know how to transport the hydrogen, we know how to do the engineering, so this kind of know-how we do have, a long experience. And in terms of hydrogen production, Woikoski uses basically 2 different methods. One is using the byproduct hydrogen from the other industries, so chemical industries, industrial processes, where there comes byproduct hydrogen. We go there, we collect that, which would otherwise go to atmosphere, we purify it, and then we take it to use and sell it to industries, or we offer it to fuel cell cars. And then 1.5 years ago, we started electrolysis plant in Finland, west coast. Kokkola is the city. And that was at the time the largest electrolysis process with high pressure. And this means we can get ultra high purity hydrogen from this plant, and this is really good hydrogen, especially for the fuel cell cars as well.
So you use electrolysis as well to produce hydrogen. At what scale? Like, what is the capacity of your hydrogen production?
The production in Kokkola, it is about 1,800 cubic meters per hour. So it's a rather large production capacity what we have there. Big part of this goes to via pipeline to the industrial area, their on-site customers, but also part of that is for the fuel cell cars.
Okay, when we met before, you mentioned to me the commitment that Woikoski has, to try to build this hydrogen economy. I guess tell me, and our guests, of course, how you are working towards this goal.
Yes, Woikoski is very active in supporting building this hydrogen economy and also the hydrogen society. And for this, we have the production, of course, transportation of that, but we have also the refueling stations. So since we have the expertise in the hydrogen, we started to build 4 years ago refueling stations, and currently we have built 3 stations.
Is this what you're showing right here to the left?
Well, this is the latest station. I just built it here right when I came in, so that's very quick delivery, I would say. Yes, that's the model of the second generation stations we have. We have one of those in Finland, in Helsinki area, and one in Gothenburg in Sweden. They were opened in October last year, so six months ago. So coming back to your question, so we have the stations, and then we also want to show to the government, to the society, that this hydrogen and fuel cell cars, that's really now here. It's not something which is coming in the future, but it's available. The technology, gas, everything is there. So for this, we have also at the company the one and only fuel cell car in Finland.
There's one fuel cell car in Finland so far.
Yes, exactly. And now we have 3 refueling stations, so we don't really have rush hour in the refueling. Yeah. On top of that, we also bought last year the first fuel cell forklift for the company. It's working daily basis in our site in Finland. So this is the way we want to show that there's the production of hydrogen, engineering of hydrogen, transportation of hydrogen, refueling, and then we have the fuel cell vehicles. And that's also kind of showcase that we want to show to the society, hey, it's here, we have to do something. We also want to convince the government, the cities, the communities, bigger companies to go for this, get fuel cell vehicles, because we can then support with the refueling stations and the hydrogen, the fuel for this car. So this is kind of work what we are doing very much in Finland and also in other neighboring countries.
So very good. So you've been building stations. There are so far not many fuel cell vehicles, but hopefully that's changing.
Yeah.
I guess how do you envision the further expansion of hydrogen and the hydrogen network in Finland?
Well, there are clear plans for this. The national implementation plan in Finland says that there will be 20 stations by 2030, basically. So next 14, 15 years. So that's the Finnish network, and of course we want to be in there building this network. But of course, we're not only focusing in Finland. Neighboring countries, Scandinavia, Baltic states, that's of course interesting area. It's close to us, and we can easily work with them also to build their network. But not to forget the Central Europe. Hydrogen refueling stations can be built basically anywhere you want. So we are interested in all the markets there.
If you were to expand into other markets in Europe, how would the distribution of hydrogen work, do you imagine?
Basically, we build the refueling stations, and in the long term, we don't want to be the operator of the stations. So the hydrogen should be sourced locally. It doesn't really make sense to source the hydrogen from Finland. That would be far too expensive. So certainly, there are local sources for the hydrogen. Plus, if we think about the future in the longer term, everybody talks about the on-site production of hydrogen at the refueling station. So this is, of course, the future, that you produce it on site.
So far, there are few hydrogen vehicles, although this will likely change. But Are there efforts that the Woikoski is undertaking to encourage hydrogen adoption in the vehicle sector?
As I said, currently we have these two vehicles. We have the forklift and then we have this Hyundai fuel cell car. And this is the showcase we want to have. I cannot say we will have other vehicles in the future, but certainly if this is getting more interesting, we might be able to get one of those. But I would like to add here that actually these vehicles, the car and the forklift, are not the only hydrogen ring cars vehicles Woikoski has. Already in 1930s, we had a car, which we still, by the way, have, old Packard car. It was a normal piston engine car, but the owner at the time decided to try if the hydrogen can be used as a fuel for this normal combustion engine car. So what he did, he just took a 50-liter cylinder of hydrogen, put it on the back seat, made the pipings to the engine, made some fine tunings, and with this 50 liters of hydrogen, he was able to drive to Woikoski railway station back, which is, by the way, 3-4 kilometers. So the idea of using hydrogen as a fuel was there 70, 80 years ago, but a little bit too early, I guess.
So 70 or 80 years ago, he built an internal combustion hydrogen car. That's a testament to his ingenuity.
Yeah, something like that. And we have this car still. Woikoski has a car museum, and we have 50, 60 cars which are coming along with the history of the Woikoski. And this Packard is still there, and it's basically drivable.
So one of the concerns about fuel cell vehicles, of course, that gets discussed is their performance in colder weather. It seems to me that Finland is pretty cold. It's pretty far north. How does that influence the adoption of hydrogen in your country?
Yeah. Well, this is an excellent question, because sometimes people who are building the cars or the different stations don't maybe understand what does it mean to be in winter on Arctic conditions, cold weather, a lot of snow. And this has some limitations, especially fuel cell cars. If it stays outside by minus 30 degrees of Celsius, there might be some issues. So we have this experience now with our fuel cell vehicles, and we also have experience of the refueling in very cold temperatures. And we also share this experience with car OEMs. We support them, and we also deliver when they bring their cars to northern Finland or northern Sweden for winter testing, the fuel cell cars. We provide the removable refueling station plus the hydrogen for them. So this is very important topic. Often in Central Europe you don't face this kind of conditions. I mean, if you have 1 meter of snow, what happens with the refueling station if you have all the cooling units on the roof and this kind of topic. So
you have ongoing collaborations with vehicle OEMs for their development?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So I guess, I mean, an incredibly relevant question to the adoption of hydrogen vehicles is how does the cost of hydrogen compare in terms of the ownership, the operating costs of these vehicles, and what further opportunity exists for the technology to develop and reduce these costs?
Yes, certainly. If you think about hydrogen prices right now, it's a bit more expensive to have a hydrogen car in terms of fuel prices. Certainly this development will be that the prices come down with the time. As you mentioned, different technologies will develop. There will be on-site production. There will be more hydrogen vehicles all in all. So this all will influence that the prices will most probably come down also for the hydrogen. Then it's very comparable or even cheaper compared to diesel or petrol cars in the future.
Are the different suppliers of refill stations, how is the compatibility, the standardization ensured across the industry?
Well, there are, of course, certain standards, like the SE8, the refueling standard. That's everybody has to fulfill that. And certainly there are the safety issues, safety regulations, which you have to fill. And I think that's the basic stuff everybody has to fulfill. And the standards, they are important in order that we can promote this hydrogen refueling infrastructure building, all in all.
Okay, so how does Woikoski ensure the safety and reliability of these stations? There could potentially be a risk to public safety, I suppose, if there's a hydrogen leak. So how do you make sure that they're going to perform?
Well, if we talk about the safety and the reliability of the station, the most important topic here is, of course, that once somebody comes there and wants to refuel the fuel cell car, it has to work. If it's out of order, if you don't get tank fill, you have to take a train. And this is one of the topics we are really focused in. And from the building the station, starting from that, it's important to have the right components, high quality components, make sure that everything works. We have also the remote controlling of the station. We can follow up each and every refueling and see that everything works. And this should be the main topic for all HRS producers. The reliability, the safety as such with hydrogen. As mentioned, we have long experience with hydrogen, and we know how to handle hydrogen, how to make the pipings and everything. So I think we are in a very, very good level on that.
Sure. So you mentioned that you do have the ability to remotely monitor your stations and their performance.
Yes, we do. And of course, it's important for the maintenance of the stairs that you have the spare parts available. If something goes wrong, you can easily and fast correct, make the actions to make it work.
Are there any audience questions at this time? No, I think that that's most of my questions. This has been a very good discussion. I do appreciate you coming up on stage here.
Perhaps I just still say something before you close it. So what we want to say is that we have the experience in producing hydrogen. So we have the production, everything in between, refueling stations plus the cars. So we have this know-how and experience. And this is something we also want to share with anybody else in the industry. And we encourage everybody to visit us. First of all, our booth is there, D58, so welcome to visit us, ask more questions. And also, I use this opportunity to invite you all to the Finnish afternoon, 4 o'clock tonight in the afternoon. Welcome to our booth.
Okay, so very good. So that again is booth D50 and Finnish afternoon. D58. I apologize. D58, and today at 4 p.m. the Finnish afternoon. That's right.
Correct.
Okay, well, if everyone could please join me in thanking Taneli for joining me on this interview.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right, up next we have a talk entitled How Hydrogen is Contributing to the Global Energy Challenge. This is with Dr. Antoine Maza from Air Liquide.